Hey, this is Utter Oopsman, and great copy makes you millions. Today I'm going to talk to you about something that's very important, and that is stories. Now, for me, stories, I have read so much about stories. When I was really getting into stories, was a few years back. Frank Kern was starting to do a lot around mass control and was just launching that, and great copywriter. He started talking to me about stories, and good friend of mine, Jason Moffat, he started talking to me about stories, and I didn't quite understand them. I didn't get it because I've generally had like a very logical background, and I've had to really consciously learn copy. So what stories are is they are a way of creating communication that goes under the radar of the defense systems that people can have towards a sales communication. And it flies under the radar, and it goes right into the subconscious mind, where people can just generally, they get it subconsciously, maybe not always consciously though, which is incredibly useful as a tool of influence. Now, what are some of the types of stories that you can use? Well, there's obviously there's an introductory story, like stories about who you are, where you're from, places, stuff like that. And there's attention-getting stories, there's product information stories, there's overcoming fear stories, there's money stories, showing how you made people money or you helped them overcome fear. There's security stories, there's ego stories, there's increasing effectiveness stories, there's family togetherness stories, there's loss and redemption stories, there's closing stories. There's all kinds of different types of stories that can be very effectively utilized for overcoming objections, for explaining something that is a lot of information and compressing it down. And what my question for you is how can you begin using more stories in your communications with people? How can you get people to understand what it is you do, or your background, or things about you by the stories you tell and how you communicate it with others? Because stories can compress a lot of information into a very little time period. And that is my rant on stories. So I feel that the more stories you use when you're opening up communications, when you're talking to prospects, clients, things of that nature, the more you can teach through stories, the better. It really, truly enables you to get more done. So you'll actually see more from that, because I'll explain more stories about my background and my things of my nature to you as we're going along here. But the stories are super big. Stories make big differences in your sales, because stories create a connection, and they can create a very wide swath of connection, which brings more people into listening to what you have to say, that create more fascination. And when you have that fascination, it enables you to get more buy-in with people. So use stories. They make you money.